Miss Sandy Rosenthal from levees.org.
Thank you, General. In 2005, when the levees broke and flooded 80% of New Orleans and all of St. Bernard Parish, my son, who was just 15 years old, and I decided that we needed to show that that flood disaster that everybody calls Katrina was actually a civil engineering disaster caused by the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. We were told, you're not going to win, you can't do it. The Army Corps of Engineers is the richest and most powerful organization in the world. We were told, don't even try. Well, 25,000 supporters later, 6 chapters in 6 states later, we absolutely have prevailed. The Army Corps of Engineers has admitted they made huge mistakes, grave mistakes, and we succeeded. When the citizens can and do prevail. When we heard in July that John Barry, with the Flood Protection Authority East, had filed a lawsuit against 97 oil, gas, and pipeline companies for the damage that they did to our coastal wetlands and our hurricane storm surge buffers, levee.org was one of the first to stand up in support of that lawsuit. That was in July, and 8 months later, we can see here, we are winning and we shall prevail. And I'm very happy to introduce John Barry.
Thank you. And thank you all for coming. I'm going to be very brief. Of course, that obviously means I'll talk for the next 45 minutes. There's a certain thing that's common to all the concerns that we have here, whether it's Bayou Corn or the Levee Board's lawsuit. And what this is really about is survival. That's what it's about.
Yep. Yes, sir.
And in the case, in our case, in the Levee Board case, what we're doing is really, really, really radical. I mean, it's extremely radical. What we want is what every parent should be teaching their kids. We want the oil companies to keep their word. We want them to obey the law. And we want them to take responsibility for their actions. And, you know, for us to be classified as an extremist, when all we want is essentially the conservative American values, the values that this country is built upon, to apply to the oil industry, I mean, that's just laughable. As some of you know, I'm an historian, and let me tell you a little piece of history happened about 400 years ago, almost exactly 400 years ago. One of my personal heroes is someone you probably never heard of. His name was Sir Edward Coke. And he was Chief Justice in England. He's probably the greatest judge in English history. And although none of you ever heard of them, he made a ruling from the bench that every American over the age of 5 knows. Almost exactly 400 years ago, he said, the house of everyone is as his castle. And when he made that ruling, the word castle was not something rhetorical. There were great lords with great castles and private armies of hundreds, if not thousands, of soldiers. And what he was saying in that ruling is that when it comes to the law, when someone comes to court, that great lord with the castle and the private army is no different than a peasant in a mud hut. They were equal before the law. Yeah. And what the industry is saying is that they're above the law.
No.
When the governor and the industry want politicians in this building to kill a lawsuit that has already been filed he is saying the industry is above the law. No one is above the law. No one. And, I close another point of history, which I've learned. History doesn't happen. People make history. And as other people here today have already said, it is up to you. You can determine your history. You can make your history. You've got to take charge, and we start on Monday when the legislature convenes. Thank you very much.